Mahabharata, Chapter 32, The Fall of Bhishma, read by Nirvan Bajaj and Ekveer Bajaj. Mahabharata, Chapter 32, The Fall of Bhishma. Vaishnapan then continued. O king, on the 9th day of the war with Bhishma in command, the Kaurava army fell with fury upon the Pandav forces. As the Pandav army retaliated, evil omens appeared. The sun seems blotted and a rain of meteors fell from the sky, foreboding disaster. Abhimanyu first led a fierce attack on the Kaurava army. Chariots, cavalrymen and elephants fell to his sure arrows. The Kaurav soldiers fled in terror. Duryodhan then cried to the Rakshas Alambusha, who was in their team. He said, "This Abhimanyu is as ferocious as his father Arjun. Alambusha, go and kill Abhimanyu while I launch an attack on Arjun with Drona and others." Alambusha said, "Very well, Duryodhan." Alambusha rushed at the Pandava army and brought slaughter in its ranks. The 5 sons of Draupadi fought Alambusha valorously, but to no avail. Abhimanyu then came to the rescue of his brothers. He released powerful weapons on Alambusha, whereupon the Rakshas, using his magical powers, enveloped the Pandava army in darkness. The Pandava army cried, "Oh, I can't see anything. Where is Abhimanyu?" Abhimanyu then released the Bhaskara weapon, which dispelled the darkness, and now light shone forth. Having destroyed the illusion of darkness created by Alambusha, Abhimanyu tormented him with arrows. Alambusha had to flee the battlefield in mortal fear of the young Abhimanyu. The Kauravas set upon Bhima an entire battalion of elephant warriors. Descending from his chariot, Bhima attacked the elephants and their riders. He slew many of them. Their frightened elephants retreated in fear, trampling many of the Kaurava army itself underfoot. Satyaki charged at Bhishma and wounded him. Bhishma discharged a sharp, snake-like arrow on Satyaki, but Satyaki dodged it. Highly enraged, Bhima threw himself with fury on the Pandava army, destroying everything that came in his path. The Pandavas came to the rescue of Satyaki and surrounded Bhishma. Seeing this, Duryodhan said to Dushasan, "Bhishma is in danger. We must send reinforcements for his protection." Duryodhan then sent Shakuni with a 10,000 strong cavalry to check the advance of the Pandavas. But Yudhishthir, Nakul and Sahadev routed it completely. Resolved to contain the indomitable Pandavas, Bhishma came to the fore. He let loose all his strength against the Pandava army. Before sunset, the battlefield was a scene of utter ruin and desolation. "Run, run!" Krishna brought the chariot to a halt and said to Arjun, "This is your chance, O Arjun. Attack Bhishma now." A reluctant Arjun replied, "As you wish, Krishna. Steer the chariot towards Bhishma." As Arjun confronted Bhishma, the latter rained arrows on him. Krishna thought to himself, "Arjun seems reluctant to fight. I must do something." Krishna jumped off the chariot and charged against Bhishma. The Kaurava army muttered, "Krishna is furious. Bhishma as good as dead now." Bhishma, however, welcomed Krishna. He said, "Come, O lotus-eyed, kill me in this great war. I cherish nothing more than death at your hands." Meanwhile, Arjun pounced on Krishna and held him tightly. Arjun fell at Krishna's feet and said, "Come back, O Krishna. Remember your vow to never fight. If you break it, people will call you a liar. Leave it to me, O Keshav. I swear by my weapons, by truth, by all the good deeds that I will kill my great uncle Bhishma." Krishna ascended the chariot in angry silence. Bhishma, meanwhile, rained a shower of arrows on the Pandava army. The Pandava army cried in despair, "Oh, I can't bear this anymore." Terrorized and demoralized, The Pandav army returned to the camp after sunset. After nightfall, leaders of the Pandav army assembled together for a conference. Addressing Krishna, Yudhishthir said, "Only you can help us out of the dilemma, O Krishna. We do not wish to kill Bhishma, but if we do not, he may bring about the annihilation of our army." Krishna consoled him. "Do not grieve, O Yudhishthir. At your command, I am ready to kill Bhishma, but Arjun has vowed to kill him. And as your friend, ally, and well-wisher, it is my duty to ensure that your vow does not go unfulfilled." Yudhishthir said, "No, Krishna, I will not ask you to go against the oath you have taken of not taking up arms in this battle. Bhishma has promised us every help outside the battlefield. Let us all go and ask him." The Pandavas, along with Krishna, then went to meet Bhishma. They paid obeisance at Bhishma's feet, and Bhishma welcomed them, saying, "Welcome, O Krishna. Welcome, O Pandavas. What is it that you want me to do for you? Ask, and it will be done." Yudhishthir queried, "O powerful one, tell us how you can be killed on the battlefield so as to save our army from slaughter." Bhishma said, "It is true that you cannot win the war as long as I am alive. So let Arjun shoot his arrows at me, standing behind Shikhandi. Since I will not attack Shikhandi, I will be vulnerable." Hearing this, the Pandavas bowed to Bhishma and returned to their camp. Back in the Pandav camp, a depressed and embarrassed Arjun asked Krishna, "What shall I do, O Krishna? How can I bring myself to kill this grand old man in whose lap I have played as a child? How can I attack him when he chooses to be unarmed?" But Krishna remained firm. "Remember your dharma as a Kshatriya. Remember, you vowed to kill him. Remember, you cannot win the war without killing him. Moreover, he chose to oppose you in war." The next morning, when the Pandav army set out, Shikhandi was at its head. The two armies charged against each other. When Bhishma and Shikhandi came face to face with them, Shikhandi said, "I shall kill you today, O Bhishma." Bhishma said, "I shall not take arms against you." When Arjun saw this confrontation, he said to Shikhandi, "Kill him, Shikhandi, for he cannot harm you. I too will help you. Shame on us if we two together cannot kill him." The redoubtable Bhishma was, however, more than a match for the Pandav army. In the intense warfare that ensued, the Pandav warriors menacingly closed in on Bhishma, and Arjun, using Shikhandi as a shield, reached within close range of Bhishma. An isolated Bhishma was now completely surrounded by Pandav warriors. Bhishma said, "I can kill the Pandavas, but I shall not do so, nor will I attack Shikhandi. My father had blessed me with the boon that I could die whenever I wished. I believe the time has come." Arjun's sharp arrows wounded Bhishma. Bhishma said to Dushasan, "These sharp and mighty arrows cannot be those of Shikhandi. I am certain they are Arjun's." The Pandavas rained an incessant shower of arrows on Bhishma. With a few hours to go before sunset, Bhishma looked to the sky in the east and fell down on the ground with arrows struck on him in every single part of his body. And the great warrior Bhishma, the great grandsire, fell. In heavens, the god lamented loudly for the fall of the mighty hero. Bhishma, in the last moments left of his life, thought to himself, "The sun is yet in his southern voyage. I do not wish to die at this unauspicious hour." Holy sages living on the Mansarovar took the form of swans and came to visit Bhishma. Bhishma assured them, "I shall not die till the sun travels northward." The core of warriors were overcome by grief. A shadow of gloom spread over the whole core of army. Some of them muttered, "This is the end of Duryodhan." The Pandavas, however, were jubilant. The Dhrashtra, beside himself with sorrow, asked Sanjaya, "Oh, why am I still alive when my revered uncle lies dying on the battlefield?" "Sanjaya, tell me how all the warriors reacted to this event." Soon, the Kaurav and the Pandava warriors came and stood all around Bhishma. Both Drona and the Pandavas sent messengers all around, calling for a ceasefire. Bhishma spoke up. "Welcome, O valiant warriors. I am pleased to see you all here," he said. "My head hangs loose. One of you must give me a headrest." Several soft and excellent pillows were brought, but Bhishma refused them all. He said, "These are not fit for a soldier. Arjun, give me a headrest befitting my bravery and courage." Arjun set 3 arrows on his Gandiva and shot them into the ground under Bhishma's head. Bhishma was pleased and said, "O Arjun, you have given me the most appropriate headrest ever." And then he said, "Give up strife now, O kings." And as physicians came up to remove the arrows from Bhishma's body, he called out to Duryodhana, "Son, send these physicians away with due honor. I wish to be cremated as befits a hero along with these arrows." The next morning, a large number of people, as well as the Kaurav and Pandav warriors, came to pay their last respects to grandsire Bhishma. Faint with exhaustion, and breathing heavily, Bhishma uttered only one word: "What water?" The kings brought their choicest food and pitchers brimming with cool water, but Bhishma would not accept them. He said, "I do not desire these. I wish to see Arjun." As Arjun arrived, he said, "O Arjun, you can alone provide me with the divine water I wish to drink." Arjun climbed up his chariot and shot the Parjanya weapon into the earth, which was the water arrow. People watched in amazement as Bhishma quaffed the water. His thirst quenched. Bhishma then said to Duryodhana, "O Duryodhana, make peace with the all-powerful Arjun. Do not delay now anymore. Let my death be the harbinger of peace. Give away half the kingdom to Yudhishthira, O Duryodhana. Let there be peace and happiness among people." But Bhishma's words of wisdom did not appeal Duryodhana, and he left out, saying, "Never!" Karna was filled with a nameless fear on hearing of the fall of Bhishma. He hesitantly approached Bhishma. He was in tears. He said, "O Bhishma, I am the same Karna whom you always despised." Bhishma opened his eyes and waved the guards away. Bhishma embraced Karna affectionately. He said, "Child, you are not Radha's but Kunti's son by the god Surya, and I do not despise you. I spoke to you harshly now and then because provoked by Duryodhana, you spoke ill of the Pandavas, and I wished to diminish your energy and morale only to prevent a schism in the family. I do not despise you, O Karna. You are the greatest. The Pandavas are your brothers. Join hands with them. This is the favor I ask for you at this hour." Karna replied, "O Bhishma, I know that I am the son of Kunti, not of Radha, but my mother abandoned me at birth. I have been loyal to Duryodhana and have been happy to be associated with him. I have promised him help in every venture. How can I betray him now when he had helped me? I will sacrifice my wealth, my family, my very own life for Duryodhana because he had helped me at my time of need. I wish to follow my dharma and continue fighting Arjun. Bless me, O grandsire, that I may fight this war. Forgive me for my impertinence and the harsh words I may have spoken to you." Bhishma replied, "Very well, O Karna. If you are so resolved, fight the war and attain heaven." Karna then recalled his dream in which his father Surya appeared in the form of a learned Brahman. His father had told, Son, Indra is about to come to you in the guise of a Brahman. He is aware of your generosity. He will ask you for the kavach and the kundalas, which is the armor and the earrings. and that make you invincible at war, and that are the only things that keep you from dying. Do not give them away to Indra, my son. He wishes to make you vulnerable to his son Arjun. Karna replied in his dreams, I cannot refuse a mendicant, O Surya. I value my reputation more than my very life. I shall give away my kavach and kundals if Indra asks for them. Surya replied, well, if you are determined to donate them, ask Indra for a powerful weapon in return. Karna woke up, thoughtful. He thought to himself, was it a dream? If not, I shall certainly ask Indra for a mighty weapon in return for my kavach and kundals. In the morning, as Karna stood in the stream of a river, paying homage to Surya, a Brahman approached him. Karna welcomed him as always. He said, welcome, O Brahman. Of what service can I be to you? The Brahman, in disguise of Indra, replied, O hero, give me your kavach and kundals. Karna replied, oh, so you are Indra. Well, I shall give you what you seek, but that would make me vulnerable in war. So, in return, give me one of your powerful weapons and let my body remain unmutilated after I have donated the kavach and kundals. The Brahman replied, so be it. You may have any of my weapons except the Vajra. And O king, Karna received from Indra the highly potent Amogha weapon. Indra, however, warned Karna not to use this weapon until and unless his very life was threatened. And thus ends the 32nd session of our rendering of Vaishampayan's recital of Vyasa's immortal Ityasa, the Mahabharata. Stay tuned for Mahabharata chapter 33, and it is called Drona's Vow. Please subscribe to this channel, like, share and comment on this video. Thank you and Namaste.